Unhealthy people unconsciously view themselves, and this is where it gets complicated. I tried to think back to when I was doing this, and my worldview, kind of like my mentality, living life. And now I'm trying to describe it. On an intellectual level, when we're unhealthy, we know that other people are people, all right? It's not like when I was unhealthy, I viewed my ex-wife and my friends and all those people as not being people. I mean, I knew they weren't rocks. I knew they weren't trees. I knew they weren't blades of grass. I knew that they were people. When I say that you don't view people as people when you're unhealthy, what I'm talking about is that you don't properly view the nature of what being a person is correctly. That's what I'm trying to say. So even though you intellectually know that's a person I'm looking at right there, you're not viewing them in the context of your life appropriately. So intellectual understanding is one thing. Understanding the true subtle nature of what it means that you're looking at a person. This is not something that occurs to unhealthy people. It goes right over our heads when we're unhealthy. But because unhealthy people, when we're unhealthy, we don't view other people as people, we do not allow for what that means, for the other implications of what that means, the other things that necessitates. If I view you as a person for real, what do I have to allow for? When I look at my daughter, if I look at my daughter and I value her as an individual, what does that necessitate? What do I have to allow for if I truly am viewing her as an individual? I have to allow for the fact that she will have different opinions, likes, dislikes, and all these things than I have. Because what if I don't? If I don't allow for that, what is the only thing that means? What is the only thing that can mean? That I'm not allowing for the natural realities that coexist with being an individual. What instead am I assuming? She has to like what I like. Her opinions have to be the same as mine. She has to have the same preferences that I have, right? Is that allowing for individuality? Of course it's not. That is not allowing for individuality. Instead, what is that? When a person does not allow for those things, what explains it? What explains it is perspectives, the same thing that explains all of emotional disorder and all of emotional unhealth. It all comes back to perspectives. But what are the specific perspectives that explain me expecting my daughter to have the same opinions I have, the same likes and dislikes, the same preferences, the same everything, and if she doesn't, I take offense at that. It frustrates and angers me. What is the only thing that explains that? Unhealthy people view themselves as a sort of main character in a movie. When you watch a movie, who is the only person that truly matters in the movie? The star, the main character, or a book or a story, anything like that, right? A story or a movie revolves around one person or one group of people. And in an unhealthy person's consciousness, they are the main character. So what does that mean for all the other people who appear in a movie? I'm thinking about, I don't know why, but Lethal Gun 2 come into my head. Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 2, and I'm doing this completely off the cuff. You can do this with any movie. Mel Gibson meets this girl, real hottie. He's fallen in love with her, supposedly, and all that stuff. And later, she dies in the movie. What was the purpose of her? Did the movie revolve around her? No, it didn't. The only reason that her character existed at all was for Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson's character, I should say. So the whole movie, the whole reason the whole movie exists at all is for Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. So this girlfriend, this love interest, comes into the movie. What's she there for? The only purpose she is there for is to add to the story of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, right? She is there to feed into that story and to serve the purposes of that story. And if the purposes of that story is that she dies, which she does, spoiler alert, and it makes the story better, that's what she's there for. But the only purpose that that character is there for is for Mel Gibson's character, I should say, and Danny Glover's character. And that is what being unhealthy is like, and being surrounded by a world of people. The world and everything exists for you. These people are not individuals when you're looking out at the world. Like, for example, my ex-wife, her true value when I was unhealthy, and I hate to say this, but I have to speak the truth about this so that people can escape this form of thinking. As much as I cared about her, she was really just feeding my story. She was really just there to add to or contribute to my story. And if you think about why I was able to mistreat her so much and to betray her and to do all these terrible things to her that a loving husband would never, a husband who's truly loving would never ever do. The reason why I was able to do that at all is because I didn't view her as a person. I viewed her as an extension of me. And that's what it comes down to. Unhealthy people view all the players and actors in their lives as just players and actors. They're just there for what they add to or take away from your story.